the next slide, although not following the typical progression, still embodies the racist cycle because Charlie is, again, projecting and reflecting his experience in the woods onto his daughter Pecola when he rapes her. On page 161, she was washing dishes, her small back hunched over the sink. Charlie saw her dimly and could not tell what he saw or what he felt. Then he became aware that he was uncomfortable. Next, he felt the discomfort dissolve into pleasure. The sequence of his emotions was revulsion, guilt, pity, and then love. His revulsion was a reaction to her young, helpless, hopeless presence. And farther down, he wanted to break her neck, but tenderly. And this shows how the racism he experiences, um, he reflects onto people that are a part of his life and a part of his family. In this case, in a very terrible way. But despite this horrendous act that he commits, Toni Morrison still draws him and depicts him as a victim of the cycle of racism instead of this terrible person, which of course the cycles expose and examine the impact of racism on Charlie. And again, a little later on, 2 pages later, at the bottom of the page, Charlie stood up and could only see her grayish panties, so sad and limp around her ankles. Again, the hatred mixed with tenderness. The hatred would not let him pick her up. The tenderness forced him to cover her. So when the child regained consciousness, she was lying on the kitchen floor, under a heavy quilt, trying to connect the pain between her legs with the face of her mother looming over her. And here, just the focus on Charlie's kind of hatred and anger that shows through as a result of what he experienced when he was so young. He couldn't pick up Pecola. All he could do was put a blanket over her, and that's the best that he could do. And this, despite, again, not being the normal progression, really embodies what the cycle means in the Bluest Eye, because of he's like, again, pushing this racism and sexism and experiences that he has onto his daughter, which his daughter will then have to live with, and again she becomes a victim of the racist cycle.